What's up, friends? Welcome to SPDM TV. My name is Mike, part of the SPDM crew, and I watch a lot of TV. We talk about various TV topics, reviews, and general appreciation of TV, past and new. You could follow me on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and Serialized at MLHilty2452 to see what all I'm watching. This week, in honor of Thanksgiving, a little insight. My sister and I used to watch Friends, the Thanksgiving Day episodes for Friends. And I thought it would be a fun exercise to go through all of these and then come up with our definitive Hilty list about which one we think
Oh,
is the
hold on.
best.
It's a shared list?
Yes, it will be a
Oh,
shared list.
I think there's gonna be some fighting.
Yeah, I'm I'm
Okay.
counting on it. So, welcome back to the show, my sister Lauren. Hello,
Hi,
how's it going?
everybody.
Hi, sister. Okay, so to set the table per se, we're gonna go through and kind of share our thoughts on all the Thanksgiving episodes, starting with season one, which is the one where Underdog gets away, where everybody has plans for Thanksgiving and they all get ruined, so they all get stuck together for Thanksgiving, which for season one is the genesis of the annual Thanksgiving episode because that's the only season that really they have a consistent episode with. Sometimes they have a holiday episode, but it's not quite the spectacle that the Thanksgiving episode slowly but surely becomes. So,
I
Lauren,
mean, it makes sense because it always aired on a Thursday, so it was always going to sh show on Thanksgiving. So,
which makes sense. Plus, also for a show about friends, like Friendsgiving definitely maybe not as much of a thing in the 90s, but how the hell are we supposed to know?
I have
Um,
no idea why they never called it that.
I don't know either. I think that's a missed opportunity. But hey,
You put
whatever.
this.
Season one, give me your thoughts. What do you think of this episode, and what are some highlights?
Okay, first off, I it's hard because I struggle with, the nostalgic factor, like when I watched it when we were kids and then watched it obsessively through college and everything and then did a whole rewatch when they like put it on HBO Max. But this episode is where I start to really dislike Chandler. So beginning in the series.
What?
And I know, I know. And this is something I didn't feel when I was a kid or anything. Chandler used to be one of my like top favorites. I just like I had a huge problem with him giving Joey crap for wearing makeup for his job. I thought that was just so rude. And then he just like shits on Thanksgiving the whole episode. And I'm just like, okay, well, this guy.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Whole series. He shits on Thanksgiving the entire
Yes,
series.
yes, yes.
Okay,
And then
that's fair.
and then on top of that, I was also like really frustrated with Rachel because she's so whiny.
Season one, Rachel is, or I would say season one and a half, Rachel is pretty insufferable in
I
this,
mean,
and that was
it's
something
really only until she starts dating Ross that she becomes a little bit,
semi-tolerant. Yeah, yeah. No, I get what you're saying there. I think for me, what sells me on this episode is two things: is that you know Monica trying to do something nice and make Thanksgiving. For me, this season one Ross is the worst. I cannot stand season one Ross. Well, truth be told, season one Ross and like past marriage to Emily Ross starts to get a bit much for me. So Ross like kind of whining about wanting like a particular type of Thanksgiving meal. That was kind of annoying, but it kind of just goes to show that Monica is the consummate host and she's going to do what she can to accommodate even the most annoying and frustrating of friends slash brothers. Brother, she only has one. However, what sells me on this episode is Joey and his ridiculous arc of just being encapsulated in this poster for VD. I love just how he's so excited to be modeling and he's so excited to like get some exposure out. And sure enough, the thing that he gets exposure on is a health clinic ad for getting checked out for VD, which I found hilarious as a kid, mainly because he's got VD, even though I was like, what's VD? But
It's an important message, and especially for the time, like just coming after the off of the 80s and things like that, like, you know,
I sure, yeah, yeah, that's fair. Phoebe's just kind of here this episode, doesn't really do much of anything, which that was always a problem with Phoebe, is that they just wouldn't give her enough to do in season one. And it's very clear that they wanted her to be like a side character, and but I think they
Lisa,
wised
so good. So good.
I think eventually they wised up and they were like, "Yep, let's continue. Let's not do that anymore."
But
Uh,
she's never gonna shine for Thanksgiving because she's the lone vegetarian of the group. So,
true, true.
but she does have some zingers later on.
She has definitely some great moments. The Go ahead.
Well, I can't remember, but is this one of the first times that we are introduced to Susan? Because Ross goes over to their place to pick up a skull, I think, and she gives him some sass, but it sort of like establishes their relationship in that, they're going to always be fighting over Carol, but like Ross acts like he hates her, but I don't think he really does.
No, and
And she's great. She's so good.
I think
She's
as
so good.
I think as the audience, we're supposed to not like her, but they do a very bad job of assuring us that we should not like her because she's great. Susan is hilarious with the deadpan delivery and just the cold, bitter hatred and sarcasm towards Ross. So, well, and kind of towards all of them, if we're being perfectly honest. So, yeah, I think this is like the first time that we get like a lot of interaction between the two of them, but also this is where I think something becomes clear to Ross that like, yeah, I'm gonna have to have this woman in my life for a while when she's saying how, yeah, I'm gonna have to I talk to the baby and I want the baby to understand who I am and my voice. And that's when Ross is like, oh yeah, I'm not around for a lot of this stuff. Which on one end is sad, but at another end is also kind of funny as well.
And that moment when the baby like moves and reacts to Ross's voice and they all celebrate together. I mean, that's just like the beginning of co-parenting, right? And it's one of the first times that they're depicting like a gay relationship on a sitcom. And
A gay relationship that is more than just like a caricature of, just
and it's a successful one.
right. And one that also has just more substance than they're gay and that's about it. So that was cool as well. The title is hilarious because, the underdog balloon actually does get away, which that's objectively funny because I don't know, like, do you care about the Macy's Day Parade or anything like that? Like one day it's going to be the the annual New York Thanksgiving Day Parade brought to you by
You know,
Obel, Target, Mountain Dew. Like Macy's eventually is not going to be the sponsor of this, but whatever. But that causes a chain reaction that gets them all to where they're all together. Look, I know you don't like Chandler, but what he says at the end is, kind of like 30% sweet, right?
yeah, yeah. And
Period.
then
Yes.
and then and then, and then what? And then Ross is like something about Christmas, and then I love when Rachel goes, and a crappy New Year, because
Hmm.
it just the timing of that, like it was just perfect. Do you think when you hear it that Monica does sound like she's saying got the keys?
Yes, I do.
I don't think she sounds like she's asking it.
What do you think she's
She doesn't, she says got the keys, but she doesn't have that inflection. Like it's not obvious. I don't know. I was a little more on Team Rachel for that one.
Okay. Okay, fair
Maybe for
enough.
the first time ever and the only time that
And
I
the
was not.
only time
Well, no, 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 no. Never mind.
there, I'm sure there will be another
They were on
ones.
a break. They were, well, no, sorry.
You want to hash this out now?
No, no, because that's a later season. Oh, wait. They don't
Well,
even talk about it, do they, in any Thanksgiving episode. So that could
n
be a whole other episode.
yeah, okay, that's fine. We could do that. TV hot topics where we discuss TV's greatest questions, like who do you think killed the character in Twin Peaks or what have you? So, yeah, maybe that needs to be a thing. All right, we'll move on to season two, technically, which it's the one with the
Obviously,
list.
okay, yeah.
So, but you also mention that it's like around episode 8 or 9, so it's technically considered the Thanksgiving episode for this season. However, to me, I was operating under the assumption that season two just does not have a Thanksgiving episode.
I thought so too, but then you brought up that in Monica's new job, they ask her to like try and make a Thanksgiving themed dessert with this creepy chocolate thing.
But so my reply to that is, so what? Just because there's like one thing that happens to be Thanksgiving adjacent does not make a Thanksgiving episode, though.
No, and the whole purpose of the episode or the whole theme is about this list, and that is the least Thanksgiving thing in the world. You don't make lists like that on Thanksgiving. You make things I'm thankful for.
Or if you're going to make the list, you just say it cattily to a relative or something like that. No, to your point, yeah, that was a pretty shitty thing of Ross to do on that god awful looking keep or computer. That kind of reminded me of the computer mom used to have when she
Mhm.
she was
The
charting.
brick.
Yeah, that it probably weighed as much of a brick. So
So this is obviously the 10th. Like
yeah,
if
so
this is
uh,
last
obvious
place.
obviously this will be number 10. Because I think both you and I are in agreement, we don't really count this one.
No.
This because it happens to like we're not even sure if it actually takes place on Thanksgiving proper or anything like that.
No, I think it takes place over a couple days.
Right, right. Which the difference between the rest of these is that there's at least some semblance of a Thanksgiving sit down or Thanksgiving something going on, and this is just like adjacent at that point. So, okay, you and I are in agreement. Season two automatically number 10 because yeah, just because. All right, moving along to season three, which is the one with the football, where they play a game of football, obviously. I'll kick us off with this. These teams were ridiculous, and 3-on-3 football is stupid because there you can't do a whole lot with 3-on-3 football. If
I
anything,
mean,
this
you're right, but this is one of the episodes where Phoebe shines. I mean, the whole reason that, they're playing the game is so that Phoebe, can try something that people have never done before. But yeah, you're right. 3-on-3. I mean, you don't know it until you do it, that
right.
3-on-3 of any game,
Mhm.
sucks.
Sure. So I agree with you that Phoebe shines in this episode. A line, so upon rewatch, a line that I was like, oh yeah, that's where I got this from. Because I say it a lot when you're with a group of people and then a couple other people kind of split off. I always say, so what do you guys really think of blah blah blah? I was like, oh yeah, that's where I got this from. So thanks, Phoebe, for that. I'd completely forgotten that also Chandler had just broken up with Janice in this and was like, oh yeah, they were back together officially for a hot minute here. So also I like look, I know you don't like Chandler. This still doesn't change the fact that for me, it is still kind of sad watching these knowing that Matthew Perry is gone.
Yes. Later on, he says something in an episode, and I was like, "Ooh, this hits differently now that he's passed."
Mm,
And we'll get to that.
we'll get to that. Ross and and Monica being super competitive,
I
kind
love
of
the, the brother sister part of it, and like that trophy with the troll.
is
What chef's kiss, perfect.
it's so 90s. It's hilarious. Did I ever tell you that I showed Gwen an actual troll and she's like, "What is this? Like this doesn't look like a troll." That like
Yeah.
that's a troll and she points at like Poppy and Branch and all that stuff. I'm like, "No, no, 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 no. That is not a troll. That is that is commercialized, you know, trolls used to be these hideous looking creatures that had
And I had a
funny
bunch of
hair.
them.
Yeah.
And I think when we were like cleaning out the old house and, going through all of our childhood stuff, I like kept a couple and it's in like my box of toys for when the girls come over, and Gwen never wants to play with it.
Well, can I tell you a secret? Mimi's not going to want to play with it either because she's just going to be like, no,
Ew.
no thanks. I'm good. The storyline with the Dutch woman, her name's Marta. Okay, whatever. You know, Joey's hitting
I
on.
mean, she gotta be a hoe. She totally was like walking around and just like happened upon these guys playing football and she sticks around. She was looking for, never mind.
She was looking for stuff. Objectively, Joey is the only good football player in this bunch, whereas the rest of them all have their moments. I think like I would
I was gonna
rank
say
I
Monica probably would be the second.
I would rank Joey, Monica. A little unfair that they're on the same team, and even Phoebe gets some good moments. She she flashes Chandler in order to get the football, which,
She
good.
fucking clotheslined him at one point.
I do love that every moment she's just like, "Oh, this is our first time doing this," or "This is our last time being in a huddle." It felt a bit on the nose that Rachel was going to be the one to win the game for them, but yeah, I like this episode a lot. I don't think it's going to be like top tier for me, but it's pretty high up there.
Agree.
All right, number four, season four, the one with Chandler in a box. You want to kick us off with this one?
I mean, it's one of, I don't know if it's one of the first times, but it is. I love when mm, everyone's giving Monica shit because she invited Richard's son over. And at one point, she's like, "You guys, no one can talk." And she like
Oh,
lists,
she went through the
and
gauntlet with
she just
all.
like called everyone out. And I love moments where they do that, where they call everybody out, and like they do it a couple times in Thanksgiving episodes later on. And I don't know if it's a callback to this or if it's just like a super successful like technique to tell story, but that's one of my favorite moments of the episode.
I always thought that that was kind of a weird and creepy way to go with, because I don't know if there was ever somebody that Monica was going to end up with that wasn't Chandler, it was Richard, right? Because like, first of all, it's Tom fucking Selleck. It's
I loved Pete. I loved Pete. I was so sad when they like m made him weird and wrote him out.
yes, that was
That was a very weird arc, and he could have been so good. He could have been so good.
yeah, he could have been, and he was for a little while. Having Michael Vartan as the okay, that was a choice.
Anyways, I mean, they had to pick someone good looking enough. And I mean, he was, I think this was like during Alias, right? Like his Alias days. So I don't know.
So there's that storyline. The I love the reaction when when everybody or when she starts telling people it's like I invited him over and they're all just like
Ew.
ew, 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 ew. So I do I do love that. Let's see. The was this the episode where they're also talking about Secret Santa? Yeah, it is because they have
Yes.
They start picking out Secret Santa, and Ross is kind of giving Rachel shit because she's like, she always returns things. However, counterpoint, everybody who does a group Secret Santa with friends, there's always that person that are like, what the fuck am I gonna get this person?
And that's usually you.
Fine. So
I never know what to get you. And
so that because this is fresh off of the episode where we thought that they were going to get back together, and then she writes this like giant letter at the end of season 3 to get Ross to acknowledge that like he's the one that fucked up. Yeah.
sorry, love that line.
But the crux of this episode is Chandler and Joey are on the fritz because of Kathy, who you look like you have something that you have to say about this or something else.
I mean, like,
Speak your
again,
truth. Speak your truth. It's
it's just
fine.
all about communication. I don't know why they all couldn't have talked about it and like had a conversation. Like, obviously, everyone knew Chandler's feelings for Kathy, and he should have just said something to Joey. Joey would have, I think, even Ross points this out, maybe not in that episode, but if Chandler had told him how he felt,
He would have bowed out.
Joey was a good guy. Joey was a good friend. He,
Yeah. But
and Joey's a hoe. He would have just moved on to the next girl. So,
however, Lauren, if we had good communication in all of these shows, nothing would happen
I know.
ever in any of these episodes. Because if you really think about it, the show Friends should really just be called miscommunication because that is all that is like 90% of the problems in in all of these episodes is two people just did not communicate something and that is it.
Or
But
six people didn't communicate.
right, right. The fact that Chandler was willing to go in the box for Joey, I think that was fun. It's ridiculous, but it's fun. The part where she's breaking up with him and he just sticks his finger out of the hole and does that. That
So
was
sad.
that. Yeah, that was. Where would
And
you
that's
rank?
yeah, Joey, and that's what gets Joey. So
Where would you rank Kathy in terms of potential end games for Chandler? Like if Monica wasn't in the picture, would you think that Kathy could have ended up with Chandler?
no.
Care to explain? Besides
I
the
just
fact that she, faithfulness was not exactly her strong
I don't
suit.
think no, because that I she just wasn't they didn't develop her character enough for me to like really care about her.
Well, that is almost 100% of the love interests on Friends. They don't develop. A lot of them,
No. Richard was great, and I was genuinely heartbroken when they broke up.
that was
And
sad, but
and
it also made sense why they
yeah,
broke up though.
yes. Yes. Okay, you're right. You're right. It didn't.
It was a very mature decision. It was really sad compared to the reason why a lot of the other couples in the show broke up. So, for example, Pete, you mentioned, Pete was given this ultimate fighting champion arc that's like, why are you doing this? Like, and also, really, you need to do this bad that you're willing to throw away this relationship? Really? Really? Okay,
I know
cool.
one the relationship that he fought so hard and stuck by is like he put in the work.
Is there any, are there any other couples? Like, I know we're getting like super sidetracked right now, but are there any other couples that you're just like, I'm kind of bummed that this didn't last longer?
Bruce Willis.
Oh God.
That
Oh,
was great.
that was
That was
interesting.
great. And I can't remember her name, so obviously it's not that important.
Who for which one?
She's the our the other paleontologist that and was with Joey, and then Ross was like, "But I like her," and
Charlie.
Charlie. I liked her, but
I like
she's
Charlie as
just
well.
like us. She's the girl that's on every TV show.
Yeah, Aisha Taylor. or Tyler, whatever her name is. The only other one that I'll throw out is David for Phoebe. They had some Hank Azaria.
Yes, he was great.
However, he was great. Mike is perfect though. So
He is perfect. I'm
because
glad that they
he's
just
Paul Rudd.
yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We're gonna be spoiling the shit out of Friends. So if you haven't watched the 30-year show, then maybe, you know, check back with us after you watched at minimum all the Thanksgiving episodes, at most probably all the episodes. Okay. Any other thoughts on season four's Thanksgiving episode?
Not no, thanks.
Season five, the one with all the Thanksgivings. This is an interesting one because
The
so
episodes.
love the flashback episodes. The You talked about the rewatch and how watching back on this show is not always the best because of the way that they treat each other.
The
The
fat phobia.
the fat shaming of Monica comes
Oh,
front and center with
it's
this
so
one.
bad.
Yes, we can all acknowledge, yeah, it was the 90s, not not exactly what they were looking to do in terms of being, nice or anything. Okay, that's a shitty way to say that. It was the 90s, it was a different time. Let's acknowledge that. However, this still doesn't change the fact that today this is objectively a shitty way to treat somebody, and let's acknowledge that right up front, which I think both you and I agree. That's
Hmm.
that's definitely a thing. Moving forward, though, the flashback episodes were hilarious, and to me, my favorite flashback is Phoebe. Phoebe as the nurse. Oh,
Gauze. I need
gauze, gauze. I
gauze.
need gauze. That
Oh,
was
in the line where Joey's like, I don't have any memories like that. And she goes, well, you're brand new or something. Like, so good.
that was cute. Ross and Chandler coming to the Gellers Thanksgiving.
I
First,
love that. That was funny.
first dressed up as the Flock of Seagulls guys, and then the next year as the Miami Vice guys.
Hmm.
To me, also, this episode was the one to me that solidified. Oh, Monica and Chandler are pretty great together.
They
This is
are. They are.
Yeah. So the
Mostly because they're just two losers in love.
yeah, they're absolutely ridiculous together. Uh, the toe, the toe incident, I thought was hilarious, mainly because of the way that like Monica was trying to be sexy around Chandler, being like, "I'm just rubbing this box of mac and cheese because it feels so nice against my
No,
body." Like, this is
but
horribly awkward, but it is also hilarious.
yeah. I mean, it just, Courtney Cox, great, great comedian. She was so good.
Right. Yeah, that's so the part at the end, or the one where the
Dancing.
turkey
When
the
she puts it
turkey
on her head, so good. Iconic.
well, like that is my favorite Thanksgiving gift to send out to people. When I send text out to a bunch of people tomorrow, it will be, or today when you listen to this, it will literally be, because like I will be sending that out to people because that's my go-to one. But at first, the when Joey gets the turkey stuck on his head, that was hilarious. But
Hmm.
for Monica to do it, that was a nice touch.
It was a gesture. It was a beautiful gesture, and it elicited the exact response that she secretly wanted.
Mhm.
So,
However, that's also super fucking gross as well.
I mean, at one point, it's Phoebe says it perfectly. You have your head up a dead animal's ass,
Mhm.
That's what that is.
Yeah. Were we done with season five? Oh, yes, we were pretty much done with season five because that was the last part with the turkey on the head. Okay. All right. Season six, the one where Ross got high. So a lot of fun things here in this episode. Uh, don't really like the storyline with Ross and Joey trying to get out of Thanksgiving just so that they can
They
hang
can
out
be
with Janine.
hot dancers.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a dick move.
It is a dick move. As a dude,
The
objectively, I
move
get
should
it.
have been to invite them to Thanksgiving,
Sure. Yeah.
but idiot boys.
Yes,
Sorry.
we are dumb folk for sure. So, not really a huge fan of that. I love any Thanksgiving or any opportunity for Thanksgiving where Jack and Judy
Mm-hmm.
get to come along.
The line where Judy says it's a lot of information to get in 60 seconds
And then she
is
goes one by one.
my favorite.
Yeah,
She's so good. She's
she,
so good.
she's great in that role. Jack doesn't get a whole lot to do in this besides being Phoebe's eye candy, but Judy is hilarious in this episode. The Rachel and
Like,
the trifle.
so
To me, this this is the funniest moment of the episode and may very well go down as one of the funniest moments in all of the Thanksgiving episodes where they're eating it and Joey's like just coaching them all up. It's like, "Hey, as an actor, we have to act like we're enjoying stuff. It's like you just rub your belly and just smile and just say and just the way when Monica does that and he's like, yeah,
and they give him so much shit. I think Chandler was like, I'm not paying for acting lessons anymore, but they fall back on it. And it's so good. It's so good. It's so
the
good. And then I think also because I've seen like the gag reel, like when they're like they can't stop giggling through this whole scene. Like you could see hints of it like in the final product, and it's just it's so good.
Monica and Chandler are living together in this, and the back and forth that her and Ross go through, just kind of trying to one up each other,
Yeah.
is also great. It is very Ross and
Mhm.
Monica of them, but
But that's
I
the impetus for like everybody like just, telling their truths, like it just is it builds to that. That's my favorite part of the episode is when it just like builds and everybody is just like screaming and then Judy has her moment and then she just like shuts it all down.
well, I think my favorite part is just at the end when Joey's like, "I want to go." That's and like Chandler just kind of sits like stays there silently and is just like, "Oh my God, what is happening right now?" But the fact that when she goes around to all of them and just start like giving them their truths, and she's just
Mhm.
like, "Rachel, you weren't supposed to put beef in the trifle. It was not good." The way that she talks
Phoebe,
to
I think Jacques Cousteau is dead.
so matter of factly, and with Ross is like drugs, divorced again.
Yeah.
I was tricked into all those things. But then when she finally gets to Chandler and she's just like, "You're a wonderful human being." I was like, "Oh, that's nice," because he was so nervous about the prospect of being with them. So I have a soft spot for this episode because yeah, because it just had a lot of fun moments in it.
You do.
Season 7, the one where Chandler doesn't like dogs. Like, first of all, really? Don't like dogs? You don't like
Right?
Thanksgiving? You don't like dogs either?
I mean, you just hate Chandler in this episode so much.
That dog is cute as
That
well.
dog is so cute.
And Clunkers, what a great name for a
Where's
dog.
Monica's name?
This episode is where we get the moo point, which
So good. Such a funny line. And it also is that game where they have to write all the states. I mean, you and I played that so many times. And this is the point. This is the thing that I was referencing before because Matthew Perry at one point says this game makes you want to kill yourself. And I normally hate when anybody says it, but when he says it, I'm just like, I know, just like,
No, this isn't good.
yeah.
So this is all the episode where Rachel invites Tag over. First of all, stupid name. Tag is like the worst name. Is Tag short for something like Tagathan or Tagly or something like that? Who names their kid
Tagger?
Tag?
I don't know.
Stupid name. But they also all warned him or warned Rachel. It's like, hey, getting involved with your assistant isn't a good idea. And this was so their relationship was another one where it was like, well, Rachel broke up with him for a very specific reason. And I did like that because at least it shows a little bit of maturity because she would have like earlier seasons Rachel probably would have tried to power through that and found a different stupider ick as opposed to what she did find with Tag was like, hey, if I want to get married and have kids by a certain time, I got to be serious with somebody and I'm not serious with this guy because he's a fucking child.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with those relationships. It's just, if it's not what you want, it's not what you want, and you have to be on the same page for that.
Yep, for sure. Did I miss anything in this episode? I think, oh, I guess, yeah, Chandler doesn't like dogs, which that's
Yeah, I mean, this was a meh episode for me.
make Chandler more unlikable. Oh, hold my
Yeah,
beer. That's what this episode
right.
is saying. Okay, season 8, the one with the rumor, and Brad fucking Pitt.
And Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt, who looks fucking incredible in this episode.
He does. He does. And they were and he and Jennifer Aniston were still married at this point.
Yes, which just adds to the layer of wow, good for you all. And this also goes to show
I love that they like hate each other or he hates her so much and it's so funny.
I think the thing that kind of just adds a lot to this episode is Phoebe. And Phoebe, like as soon as he walks in, she's just like, wow, like,
Yeah.
bravo. And just the little passive aggressive, or not passive aggressive, but little things that she said is like, oh, Will, come on, take off your shirt and tell us.
Yeah.
This is the one with the Thanksgiving pants as well.
Oh yeah.
So that was fun.
That was good. There is then when they start talking about their time in high school is when it gets so cringy because
Well,
one,
between the librarian and
yeah, like Ross essentially making out with a teacher. Whoa. And then and then the rumor. Like,
oh yeah, yeah, that rumor is pretty shitty today, looking looking back at it. It should have been pretty shitty back then, but let's just laugh at the expense of people who have both parts. Like that's pretty shitty. So you got to knock this episode a little bit for not aging well.
yes.
But you know who has aged well? Brad Pitt, because it's I
I mean,
do I do
n-
love that.
none of the other actors have aged that well either. So,
No, no, they have not. I think Lisa Kudrow has probably been the one that has aged the most gracefully, whereas, you know, everybody else doesn't look great in this. And I do love like Brad Pitt is the MVP of this episode because he commits to this is like when Rachel's like he's really giving me that like smoldering sexy look and he's just like glaring at her
and saying I hate you.
and not only that, I hate you, and just the smile about
Oh, the
that.
hair flick when he's like in Rachel land or something, and he just, ugh, so good.
I do wonder if there was if Brad Pitt just kind of put some of his own spin on some of that stuff, or if all of that was just called out in the script. I'd love to see the behind the scenes for this particular episode, which I probably could have because there were like I love the DVDs of these because there were some episodes that did have commentary on them, and objectively, I should have gone back and listened to some of those commentaries when I had the actual DVDs of this because that would have been great.
You can get them from your local library.
Look for your local library. I think that's it for this one.
I mean, one more ick, just one more ick when Brad Pitt's character finds out that Ross got her pregnant and isn't marrying her and he wants to give him a high five. I was just like, "Oh, that's so shitty. That's so shitty for you to hate someone that much. It's rude. It's so rude." And if Monica had been a better friend, she would have been like, that's where I draw the line at you
Get the fuck
saying
out.
shit about my friend.
Get the fuck out. Yeah, that should have been, yeah, should have been that. All right. Season 9, we've got the one with Rachel's other sister. Is this Christina Applegate's first appearance? I'm pretty sure
Yes,
it's her first
it's her
appearance.
first one, and then she makes another appearance later on, and her hair is shorter.
Yes. Boy, Rachel has shitty sisters,
I
right?
mean, she had a shitty family.
Yes. So Jill and God, what's her name? What's
I, for the love of God of me, cannot remember what her name is
I
because I
just
just
called her
think her is Christina Applegate.
I just called her Christina Applegate. Amy. Her name is Amy.
Amy, she is the worst.
She sucks a lot.
And I just like because of how bad she I mean, just because of their relationship, I didn't really care for this episode. I mean, I know that like, there Chandler's going through a moment where he's like, I don't think I'd be a good father. And now that, you know, if if Monica dies, then I won't get,
Ju-
Emma. And then he like reprimands them and, really steps up and like defends Monica. But then at the end, he whispers that was totally hot or whatever, like ruined it for me. I was just
mm,
like, why? Why do you have to say that shit out loud?
because
So
he's Chandler.
rude.
Because he's Chandler.
Oh, so
He's
bad. I was just like, I've always hated that. I have always hated it, and I hate it more today.
the the whole thing with the wedding china. I thought that was great in the way that it actually breaks, because you knew at some point that these fucking plates were gonna break. Like it's just a matter
Well,
of
you
when and
thought it
how.
was done when Rachel breaks the one. You were like, oh, it happened. But then Chandler accidentally knocks over the entire box and is like, "Whoa, I'm gonna be the first one to die." That was funny.
Yeah, that's true. When Chandler says like if I die, you're not going to get Joey, I I thought that was adorable, because, somebody's got to take care of Joey. What happened with Phoebe in this episode? Like Phoebe doesn't do much of anything in this episode, right? She she obviously does something because they all do something. She coaches Joey on what to do
On how to
because
lie.
because he misses he misses being on the float for the parade.
Yeah.
And he's always commenting and saying that there was a raccoon, and also just he can't look at somebody in the face when he's lying. He he always just looks down. That was fun, I guess, right? Obvious B plot,
Yeah.
C plot technically, because I feel like the B plot is Chandler getting
It's
in his head about being a parent, and then Rachel and Amy conflict, you know, all of that. Well, let's get to the final episode, which is the one with the late Thanksgiving. Everybody's real shitty in this episode. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. But I do love at the beginning when Chandler's saying like we just don't think we can host and he like is very articulate and he's like drawing that boundary. And I think it was Ross that goes like, "You sound like Monica." And
mhm.
then Joey's like, "You don't put words in mouth, you put food in people's mouths." And that was funny, but also like so shitty of them to be like, "Oh,
Cook
I
all
can
this food.
cook," or whatever. It's just like, God damn.
So
Give her a break.
thinking about the reasons why both of them or both groups end up late. So the first one, the guys go to what, a hockey game or a basketball
Yeah.
game or some
No,
shit
they
like
go to
that.
a hockey game.
A hockey game. They should have known that, like, hey, there's no way in hell we would have gotten back in time for that to be a thing. But also miscommunication where they're just like, I assume that you would have been here on time. No, I
Yeah.
assume this is where a group text would have been super helpful. Hey,
Don't have phones.
they do fucking have phones because it's 2004. Everybody should have a fucking cell phone by now.
They never did because they're always calling each other on their cordless landlines.
Okay, not true. They did have phones they did in the later seasons. They had cell phones. Whether or not they had text
Okay.
messaging is a different story. So group
I mean,
chat
those plans in the early aughts were like
were
ridiculous.
rough. Were rough. 25 cents a text message? Really? Really? But and also a limited amount of text messages. So glad we live in the time that we live in now. When it comes to
You
cell
think
phones,
in a group
not
chat
amongst
though,
other stuff. No,
not that you couldn't have done it, but like back in the day, if there was a group chat, do you think you'd be charged?
for sending a message to all five of them,
Yeah. So would that count as one or would that count as
that
one time?
probably would count as five messages sent to five different individuals because that is how cell phone companies
You
just
gotta make
work.
money. Okay,
Hmm.
anyways. So yes, it does suck, but the talking heads,
Oh, that was great.
so funny.
I do love Joey and his talking head where he's just like trying to do the weird eye thing and trying to get them to open the door. So the chain breaks and the Thanksgiving is ruined. And just when you think Monica is about to just eviscerate them, which
I get a baby.
they do get a baby, which you later find out is like, oh, this wasn't supposed to be their baby, but they can end up convincing the person that Anna Ferris that she needs or that they would be great parents. So that was fun. That or not fun, but that was nice to
It
see
was a
that.
great moment, and it's one of the only episodes where like there's a through line. There's like a plot. It like leads to another episode. Like a lot of these can just
I
stand on
stand
their,
alone. Yeah, yeah.
but yeah. So I mean, it was the last season. They had to like every episode had to like be moving towards something.
All right. So we've gone through before we come up with our ranking together. I would like to know do you have one that kind of stands out for you?
My top one, we're gonna go from the top down.
Let's go bottom. All right, okay. Let's instead of me hearing about like which one is your top, I think we should go straight to the list because I don't want us to be influenced in any way. So, okay, number 10, season 2. We've
Obviously.
we've already established that. What would you put next?
Season 7.
No, that to me is too low.
What would you pick?
Probably season 9.
Okay, I would I would go with that because season 9 would be my next one.
All right. For the sake of compromise, I will put season 7 after that, even though I still think that's too low. But I get it.
We can't keep it in the running just for the cow's opinion. This is the best part of that whole episode.
That's not a good enough reason. That's
That's
I
why it should stay at number 8.
Yeah. Okay. My next one, I think I'm gonna go either season 1 or season 10.
I was gonna say season 10.
Okay. Season 10, and then would you agree season 1 is next, or do you have
Yep.
one that okay. Boy, this is where it starts to get a little tricky now, because the rest of these are
Great.
great in their own way. But if you could pick which one you think would be number 5, which one do you think it would be?
8.
Oh, okay. Is this because of the rewatch factor?
It is
Okay.
totally because in the moment, like when it first aired, and for like maybe 5 years after that, I was obsessed with that episode. I thought it was so good and so funny. But
But now it's
watching
not.
it with different eyes and different lived experiences and things like that, I would put it at 5.
Okay. I'm I would like to see that episode maybe just a little bit higher, but
What is your number 5?
probably for similar reasons, I would go season 5, the one with all
Okay,
the Thanksgivings.
that's what I would say next. So I'm okay with putting season 5 and then season 8.
Okay, that's fine. Even though season eight's my number one. I get it though. I do, because from a rewatch perspective, yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Okay,
So what
so
number are we at now?
we're
We're
at
in the top
3,
3.
and we have seasons 3, 4, and 6.
Okay.
For me, number 3 would be season 4.
Agreed. And then season 3,
and then season
and then
6.
season 6. Wasn't as hard as I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah, give me a little bit more credit. I've done enough of these lists to know that like I'm not going to get my way, so I have to compromise, you know. So I do get that. Okay. So, to recap, the Hilty official Thanksgiving Friends Thanksgiving episode official list. Number 10 is season 2, the one with the list, which we're technically counting, but it's not a Thanksgiving episode.
No.
Number 9 is season 9, the one with Rachel's other sister. Number 8 is season 7, the one where Chandler doesn't like dogs. Number 7 is season 10, the one with the late Thanksgiving. Number 6 is season 1, the one where Underdog gets away. Number 5 is season 5, the one with all the Thanksgivings. Number 4 is season 8, the one with the rumor. I get it. I get it, though. I do. Number 3 is season 4, the one with Chandler in a box. Number 2 is season 3, the one with the football. And number 1, the Hilty Thanksgiving family or Thanksgiving friends or the Hilty family friends Thanksgiving episode countdown is number 1 is season 6, the one where Ross got high.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm happy with this
I had to
list.
say that 5 times fast.
No, no, I couldn't even say that one times fast. So,
Oh.
okay, Lauren, any final thoughts on Friends Thanksgiving Day episodes?
No, because I mean they're great, and I mean, to get ready for this podcast, I think I rewatched them twice already, and I will again tomorrow. And
Uh,
then after that, I will watch all the Bob's Burgers Thanksgiving episodes because those are also great.
okay, that's actually something that I was going to ask you is that do you have any other TV shows where you like the Thanksgiving episodes? And it sounds like Bob's Burger.
Bob's Burgers, there's one really great Thanksgiving episode in The West Wing. I think there's actually two. There's two really good ones. What other? I can't think of any other shows that really highlight Thanksgiving. Oh, How I Met Your Mother with Slapsgiving. So good.
Slapsgiving. Yeah,
So good.
yeah, that would be probably the only other one that I would shout out. There's a lot of I do have to shout out This Is Us for the Pilgrim Rick episode because that episode was cute, but
I only
um
watched the first season of that show and I cried too much. Couldn't continue.
yeah, you probably but okay. But then again also it season 1 was where it peaked, unfortunately.
Well,
So, okay.
yeah.
Well, sister, thank you for coming on and talking Friends with me, particularly these Thanksgiving Day episodes, because these were these were episodes. This was our part of our tradition was watching these episodes. So I appreciate you reliving them with me. That's going to do it for this episode of SPDM TV. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe to anything and everything SPDM Crew wherever you get your podcast. Join us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, YouTube, and Blue Sky at SPDM Crew. Check out our website soon to be out at spdmcrew.com. Shout out to HiFlyer Creative Studios for making our awesome logo. Greatly appreciate their support. And if you have any needs for marketing, logo, or brand standards, contact them at HiFlyerCreative.com. If you've got a podcast idea or you're interested in being part of the SPDM crew as a guest or collaborating, email us at spdmcrew@gmail.com. Until next time, happy watching, friends.